Hello aspirant, welcome to the Hindu editorial analysis Pragnya IAS Academy. This is Shankar. China-India ties across the past and into the future. And it was the article which was got published by the Zhu Figong, the Chinese ambassador to India, in commemoration to the 75th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between India and China, which has always surged forward like the journey that four inspirational factors embedded therein for the drawing conclusions to understand the relations between India and China. As of now, we can say that China and India are at a critical stage of national development, and as more partners than rivals should help build a good, important relationship which could be stable and bilateral. So in the context of all these, we can say that this so-called India-China relations, is it really a journey through history or the road ahead? Is it really in a progressive way, or still India and China are the rivalries? So in this article, as according to this ambassador, Chinese ambassador to India, you should understand that India and China, the two ancient civilizations, have shared centuries of cultural, economic and political exchanges. Okay, from deep-rooted historical ties to the modern-day geopolitical challenges, the relationship has evolved in such a way through both cooperation and conflict. So one cannot directly say that there exists only cooperation or only conflict. Both are existing. And this so-called analysis on this article dwells into the historical evolution, major developments, challenges, and the future of India-China relations. That is what our primary focus is all about. So simply to cut short, the historical evolution of the relations between India and China right from ancient and medieval periods are completely based on the cultural and religious ties. Cultural and religious ties, especially Buddhism, played a very crucial role in fostering the early relations between both, with Chinese monks like Zunzang and Fizang. Okay, those visited India in the ancient days. Along with this cultural and religious ties, even trade and commerce, especially the Silk Road, enabled extensive trade in silk, spices, and knowledge exchange. So this was what the simple understanding of the ancient and medieval ties between India and China. But at the same time, we should also have a focus in understanding the colonial and the post-independence eras. Under the colonial aspect, we can say that both the countries were completely got isolated because of the British interference. That so-called ancient and medieval relations between India and China were completely cut down. There was no exchange of trade, commerce, knowledge, culture, religion, whatnot. It was completely got isolated. British policies completely limited the direct interactions between both the countries, in which we can say that one of the primary reasons for the gaps to start between India and China is because of the British isolated policies. Okay, like the way immediately after gaining independence, under the post-independence understanding, India was among the first nations to recognize People's Republic of China in 1950 as a sovereign country, promoting Hindi, Chini, Bhai, Bhai. So this was the sentiment which got developed, which really fostered the relations between India and China. But later on, because of the issues, especially Jail Nehru government, who gave shelter to Dalai Lama at Dharmashala, later resulting in 1962 Indo-China war, the border war, the territorial disputes, led to a full-scale conflict resulting in the diplomatic strain. And then the military clashes or the border tensions which continued in 1967, 1987 and 2020, the Galwan Valley, which escalated the tensions between both the countries. Not only that, you should also understand that post 1998, India-China became strategic rivalry, where India's nuclear tests and security concerns over the China influenced the diplomatic engagements between both the countries. So in this context, there are also major developments which were happened between India and China. That's the reason why we addressed that the relation between India and China is not just limited either to the cooperation or to the conflict. It is a combination of both. So as we have discussed about the conflicts, now let us discuss about the engagements through cooperation. Cooperation could be seen under the economic and trade relations, where we can say that it is a boom for the bilateral trade. China became one of the most important India's largest trading partners through its, though the imbalance remains the concern as of now. But still, that the trade relations, economic relations between India and China is escalating, is being strengthening. And India's dependence on Chinese goods, heavy reliance on Chinese imports, especially to the sectors like electronics and pharmaceuticals, really made that so-called relations to entangle. Like the way that we are also having border and military engagements with the name called LAC disputes related things. Okay, the unresolved border disputes with periodic clashes impacting the diplomatic relations between India and China. On one side, the strategic buildup, on another side, the military modernization. Both the nations have increased their defense infrastructure along the borders. And hence, we should say that these two became the giant ASEAN countries, which is influencing the world geopolitical dynamics. So, unresolved border disputes is the call of the hour, which is to be resolved by strengthening the diplomatic relations between both India and China. As India is facing a great trade deficit with China, thus by boosting the economic and trade relations between both India and China, which would be benefited for the national interests of China, national interests of India, is the better call of the hour. And the Chinese assertive regional policies is also the greater concern, which is to be addressed as of now because of the Chinese influence in the Indo-Pacific region. And hence it is the call of the hour for the India's maritime interests to be secured, and the nexus between China and Pakistan, China-Pakistan economic corridor, which is passing through the sovereignty region of India, the POK region, and hence it became the sovereignty concerns for India is the call of the hour, which is to be addressed. And as a part of that, here we can say that the way forwards under the India-China relations to get strengthened based on these, respecting each other mutually is the call of the hour. Development opportunities is to be primarily focused is the call of the hour. Mutually beneficial relationships is to be made is the call of the hour. Likewise, promoting high quality development and India, which can show the commitment to realizing the vision of Vikasit Bharat 2047, Atmanirbhar Bharat, likewise skill development programs, all we can integrate everything to promote the exchanges between India and China. And this is how in this multipolar world, these two ASEAN giants, India and China, can be universally beneficial, and also they too collectively can transform the geopolitical dynamics of the world. So this is what the entire article is talking about. Okay, so this is all for the day. Thanks for watching. Please do like, share, subscribe for more updates. Signing off. Thank you.